lost and I know where to go now. I don't really have a place to call my home now. Everybody hating on the physical now. Why do everybody make me feel alone? Like I'm trying lost and I know where to go now. I don't really have a place to call.
Somewhere I'll not return. It's all over now, Kumu said. Tried to rope to his right arm. No, father, Kabi begged. I'll never write again, Kibu declared as he left a kitchen knife as he was about to cut his right arm off. Flashback and Naruto and Lucy scream in horror, while Naruto cringe and awe was happy only word. Flashback. You should have listened to me. I told you you would regret ever working with Duke Everloom, but you went ahead and did it anyway. Why? Kabi demanded, watching his father as his father lay on the hospital bed. Because it was good money, Kumu answered weakly. Who cares? Look where it got you, Kabi shouted. Kumu sighed and smiled in relief. I'm glad, so glad I finished the publish, Kumu said. What the hell are you smiling about? Do you think it's funny to leave your family for 3 years to write a novel you're not even proud of? Kabi shouted as he clenched his fist and gritted his teeth. Son, I thought about you entire time I was gone, Kumu said, still smiling. Then you should have just written something for him quickly and come back to us instead of abandoning your bride and your family right along with it. You're a sad excuse of a writer, selling yourself to the highest bidder, and you're not much of a father either, Kabi said, walking out while his father still had a smile on his face. His flashback ended not long after his father passed away. However, the anger and betrayal I felt towards him lived on as the years passed by me. The anger slowly turned into remorse, and now it's too late for me to ask his forgiveness. So I decided to make amends by destroying the work that has caused him so much unhappiness. This is the only way I can prevent his legacy, Kabi said as he lit up the lighter and prepared to burn the book. I'm sure this is what he would have wanted, Kabi said. No, you're wrong, Lucy said about the protest. But stop. Naruto walked over and stopped Kabi and grabbed his wrist and gave Kabi a sympathetic look, shocking everyone. What are you doing? I have to burn the book, Kabi shouted, trying to release his wrist from Naruto's iron grip. Please, Kabi, listen to me, Naruto begged, giving his a sad smile. Kabi stopped struggling and listened. You don't have to make amends. You don't have to ask for forgiveness, Kabi, Gigi, Naruto said and smiled. Naruto-kun, Lucy said in confusion. But why would you say that? Kabi asked. Because you have already been forgiven. You're wrong. This isn't your father would have wanted, Naruto said. Natsu and Lucy and Happy looked on as the fire on his match vanished. Kabi, Naruto-kun is right. Look, Lucy said, as Naruto released his iron grip from Kabi's wrist. The book began to glow purple as magic circle appeared and title fold up. A spell has been cast on this book. It's the work of a wizard, Kumu Zelon, or should I say, Silko Milon, Lucy said. The title began forming until the title says, Dear Kabi. Kabi read out loud, that's right. This book was about a letter to you, discussing behind the spell, regards all of the words, so no one else could read it. Lucy explained, as the letter and sentence and words began to circle the book. Wow, Natsu said in awe. Amazing, Naruto said as equal in awe. Pretty, Happy said, smiling along with the other boys. He didn't stop writing because he was ashamed. He stopped writing because he had finished his masterpiece and a novel. The certain everything that he wanted to say to his beloved son, and when you read it the way he attended, it's easy, the best work ever he wrote, Lucy said. Naruto smiled nostalgically, almost bringing him to tears. This reminded him of Jiraiya's own book, the first novel of the signing of rope, the tales of the gutsy ninja. I thought about you the entire time I was gone, Kabi father. Words echoed through his mind as Kabi stood and stared in awe. The book had finished transforming and dropped itself onto Kabi's hands, and now that the spell has been broken, you can read it by yourself, Lucy said, as the boy smiled at Kabi. Kabi hugged the book like it was a baby. Thank you, Father. I swear that I will not let this book tarnish. Kabi thanks. Natsu and Naruto turn around and both behind their backs of their head. Well, I guess we won't be collecting the reward, Natsu said. Yeah, it just wouldn't be right, Naruto said. I, Happy chirped. Lucy turned around to face the boys, looking in shock. Huh? Lucy yelped. We were supposed to destroy the book and destroy it. Lucy Chan, Naruto giggled. Yeah, we didn't finish the job. Natsu turned around and smiled at Lucy. Even so, let me do something, Kabi begged. Yeah, it's not our fault, he decided not to burn the book after we got the book back to him, Lucy pointed out. Lucy, don't be so greedy. You're ruining that what was a touching moment, Happy said sadly. I need the cash, Lucy shouted, and Happy turned around. Thanks for the offer, but we don't need it, Natsu said. As he continued walked out the door. Yes we do, Lucy protests. I need to pay my rent, Lucy shouted. I think it's time we all go home. That means you too, Mr. Melon, Natsu said, turning around to give him one more smile before walking out the door. Go back home, Naruto said. Lucy and Kabi was surprised. Unbelievable. Who is their right mind would have turned down 2 million jewels? Lucy cried, looking down depressed. It wouldn't been right. God, if we hadn't taken the money, you gotta think about fairy tale reputation, Natsu said. I, Happy agreed. We made him happy, right? We got the job done, and now we're walking home. And then to find and out they're not even wealthy. They were just renting the house so everyone would think they were rich. It's not like it mattered. We would have taken the job anyways, Lucy said. I don't know about you, Happy said, still perching on Naruto's squirrel. Of course I would have. Ugh, Naruto couldn't say something. Lucy shouted, looking over to the Whisker Man. Naruto chuckled. Don't worry, Luchan. I can take care of your rent. 70,000 jewels isn't that much for me. Naruto smiled. Lucy smiled that casually and ran over to Naruto, clinging tightly onto him. His arms wound. Natsu and Happy looked over in shock. Really, Naruto-kun? You mean it? No, kidding. Lucy asked, and glimpse in her eyes. Seriously, you're always too nice, Whiskers, Natsu said, looking into disbelief. You bet, Naruto smiled. Great. You're so nice, Naruto-kun, Lucy said, smudged in her face. Onto the surface of her jacket Naruto wore. Naruto smiled and shook his head. Naruto turned around and looked straight forward. Too nice for you, Natsu grumbled. I. Happy said, Hey, I heard that, Lucy shouted, while Naruto laughed. By the way, the house, how will you two know it wasn't really theirs? Lucy asked, leaning onto Naruto's shoulders. Oh, that was easy, 'cause it smelled like someone other house. Seems pretty obvious. And Whiskers has amazing sensory skills. So he sensed that this was somebody else's house, Natsu said. Much on fishing on a stick, I, Happy said. Also munching on a fish. To sure to you, two animals maybe, and I can't believe you knew too, Naruto-kun. I didn't know you had sensory powers, Lucy said in awe as she slowly lifted her head up to look to her fellow blonde. Naruto smiled and trademark smile. Yeah, over the years of my ninja's training, I eventually developed sensory powers. And it got more powerful whenever I received powers from the Sage of the Sixth Path, Naruto explained. Wow, not me. I was still lost in the clouds from reading the books, Lucy said, smiling. Natsu stopped eating and smirked mischievously, while realizing also hitting Naruto, who's also smirking. Naruto noticed that Naruto and smirked at him. Oh, me? And Whiskers where got you figure it out, Natsu said. All those papers I found in your place? Natsu mumbled, digging back into his fish. Lucy jumped. You were writing a novel, aren't you? Natsu said, grinning mischievously. Wow, Luchan, no wonder why you're such a bookworm. Natsu and Naruto teased, looking and smiled. And a red tomato, Lucy. Wow, Lucy is so red, Happy chirped. Promise you won't tell anybody about that, okay? Lucy said, chopping her face in total embarrassment. Why not, Luchan? Naruto said in loss. Yeah, Lucy, Happy said, 'cause I'm a horrible writer, and if anybody read my stuff, I will die embarrassment, Lucy said, covering her face with her hands and shaking her head side to side violently. The boy's sweat dropped while Happy literally fell over. Don't worry, no one was gonna tell nobody and read it. Not to reassured. Yeah, that doesn't make me feel any better, Lucy said. Naruto chuckled. I don't know about this guy. Are you sure we are going the right way? Lucy asked nervously as she was piggyback Naruto, her arms hanging over his shoulder, her chin resting on her right shoulder, and her behind resting perfectly on his scroll. Naruto chuckled. Happy said, This is the way home. So this is the way we're going. Natsu answered, Have some faith. I'm a cat. I have great sense of smell. My nose will lead us home, Happy said confidently. It's a dog that have a great sense of nose. What about Naruto-kun? I thought he was some kind of a fox. Aren't fox like dogs? Shouldn't Naruto lead the way? And what does smell have to do with directions? Lucy asked. Naruto chuckled again. For your information, a fox is sealed inside of Naruto, a demon fox. His name is Kurama. Didn't Naruto tell you all of this before? Weren't you even paying attention? Happy said. Oh yeah, I forgot. Sorry, Lucy said sheeply. Naruto and Happy sighed. Well, Naruto giggled sheepishly. Why don't you and your own walling And a while